Right, how's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Stephen here from GGS Gamer, and it's day 4 of Gamescom in Cologne, and I'm at the Grey Goo booth with Frank and Ted. How are you doing?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for coming by.
Excellent. No problem. So, what we got here? So, what is Grey Goo?
So, Grey Goo is an RTS game made by Petroglyph and Greybox in conjunction with Axis and also our partner is Weta Workshop, did all the concept work for us. And it is an RTS game that really speaks to the classic RTS games that made the genre so popular. So, in Grey Goo, we've got a very equal mix between base building and economy and combat. And I think that that's something that people have been missing with so many failed experiments in the RTS genre over the last several years.
Cool. For those who might have heard that name, Weta Workshop, and rang a bell, that's the guys that did all the VFX for Lord of the Rings, isn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely is. And we've got some awesome artists internally as well. So the way it worked was Weta Workshop did all the concept work for us, and then we took those concepts and we made them into 3D models and put them into the game world.
Cool. So Frank, what makes Grey Goo as an RTS? What makes it different from all of the all the ones out there just now?
Well, it's right there in the name. It's Grey Goo. It's we have a faction that is the Goo, and it's different than anything that's been done in an RTS before. It's basically a mass that moves along. It doesn't have any base structures like the other traditional factions we have in the game. It's got it sucks up resources. It sucks up your enemies' units. It sucks up your enemies' structures. It uses that to gain its health. It splits off into other, amoeba-like, goo, and then also you can form that into the units of your choice. So you can actually save your goo in its form until you see what the enemy has, for example, as a strategy, and then decide to form it into the unit that's appropriate to counter your enemy. So that's been a really interesting new, innovation we've been able to do in this game to set it apart from the others, and still give people the other options of real-time strategies that they enjoy from the classic model of the genre. So we feel we have the best of all worlds here. We've got something new and something that's familiar to everyone, caters to everyone's play style.
Sure. So the Goo, is one race, and there's 3 of them in the game right now. What are the other 2?
Yeah, so the other races are the Beta, and the Beta is kind of a distributed faction. They like to, they're kind of a jack of all trades. So they're good at combat, and they're also good at defense. And so that's a good starter faction for many players, and it's actually the first faction you play in our 15 mission campaign as well. And then you also have the Human faction, and the Human faction is all about building like a fortress, a very well-defended fortress. And so what they like to do is they like to stay safe within their base, and then they like to project their power across the map using teleportation or other methods to elicit map control over resources and then ultimately destroy their enemy.
Cool. And all 3 of these factions, they're not in the whole purpose of the game. Are they specifically focused on one type of strategy gameplay? Is it all combat? Is it all economy? How is it?
Well, like I said, we've got a really nice mix between combat and base building and economy, and so all 3 of those things are important to all 3 factions. But there are certain strategies that beta players will want to use versus human players versus Goo players. For example, the Goo race, which is just completely different from anything that people have played in RTSs before. In that faction, you really have to constantly be on the move. You have to be constantly moving and subdividing and creating more units, and then creating and subdividing again.
Spreading.
It's spreading like a virus, really. And it's really just a super fun faction to play. And
the other thing that's notable about the Goo faction is they can traverse all the terrain. So they can roll over, the mountains and the structures and everything else, versus, the typical units and factions that have to follow a path and go around things. The Goo just bypasses all of that entirely.
Cool. So how is development progressing on the game? How's it been so far?
It's been really great. One thing that we focused on early on was balance, because that's super important to RTS players and to our to everybody here at Petroglyph. And so we've had this game running for probably the last 16 months, and we've been balancing it for 16 months. So we've had a lot of time to iterate and really improve on the quality and the polish of the game. So it's it's really turning out great for us, and we're super happy about it. And we're really getting close too. The game's gonna release in early 2015. It's gonna come out with a map editor, so players can be able to share their own maps that they've created using Steam Workshop. And it's right around the corner. And we'll be having a beta soon. So we encourage everybody to go to www.greatgoogame.com and sign up for the beta.
Cool. When is this beta launching?
It's going to be sometime in the next 2 months. We're not sure yet. We're going to wait until after the Gamescom and after PAX in Seattle in just a couple weeks, and then we're going to make an announcement.
Cool. And so it's going on Steam. What formats on Steam will it be able to play on? Is it just PC or is it?
It's just PC for now, or we're talking about supporting other platforms, but for now we're just focused on PC.
Cool. So as I say, check out greatgoogame.com for beta signups. Frank, Ted, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. This has been Stephen from GGS Gamer. Gamescom's nearly over, but keep an eye out for any more news that happens, and we'll catch you later.